Good evening, you awesome folks. I'm Scott. That's Ryan. And joining us today, actually as hosting and supposed to be on the sidelines, is the good Mr. Kyle Krieger. You can see the both of them on Streampunk Combat, 9:30 Eastern on the Streampunk Combat channel, talking all things when it comes to wrestling.
Jabronis United, and say the name.
Jabronis United. I don't know lick about wrestling. They're way better at it, so I let them roll with it, and I just grin and nod a lot. And yeah, they do pretty well there. But anyway, enough plug on that. Welcome to Tales from the Film Set. We're going to be sitting here talking about a few different things in the pipeline, talking a little bit about Tiny Toons, the new series, Tiny Toons Looniversity. Might talk a little bit about what's going on with Rotten Tomatoes, which apparently they are a little bit of hot water. We'll be talking a little live action One Piece and kind of winging the rest of it as we go along. But gentlemen, how the hell are you, first off?
Well, first, it's nice to see you back after the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, we did take off for the Labor Day vacation, and even the week before that, we had our own duties without Scott.
Yeah, had to pick up my wife from the airport.
Yes.
You know, spouses get kind of pissed when you don't do that.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
You were being a good husband, and I hope we did well for you.
Oh, you
also, since the three of us are tri-state area folk, to this being 9/11, so hopefully, again, prayers and well wishes go out to everyone who has ever been affected by that one fateful day. And that's why I've got the bandana on. Not trying to look too silly, but it was either that or put it around the neck like Fred Jones' ascot. So I went with the more mature version.
But all right, so in this case here, you want to get things rolling with Tiny Toons?
Oh boy!
All right, so Cartoon Network / HBO Max has rebooted Tiny Toons in the form of Tiny Toons Looniversity. Steven Spielberg is involved with it. Unfortunately,
executive producer, which means he's probably about as hands off as possible.
But in this case, his name is attached to it, which gives it automatic credibility, like the same one 30 plus years ago. Sadly, none of the original voices, for the most part, are back. The voice of Montana Max is back. The voice of Elmira is back. Cree Summer. But for the most part, new Babs, new Buster, new Plucky, new Hampton, new Fifi LaFume, new Shirley, new pretty much everyone. So a little bummed about that one. Ryan, you have seen every episode at this point. I have seen 2 episodes at this point. So I'm going to let you roll first.
Yeah. I know you got like 2 white guys with glasses on this time. It can be a little confusing. I understand.
Yes. They're okay. Left hand Ryan. Okay, got it.
We all look
okay, it just looks bad when you're like pointing it up like that. It's like you're giving me an exam. Don't do that.
So okay, all you then. So
yeah. Now you're just sticking the whole hand up there. It's
now it's like a ventriloquist dummy. It's like, okay, and go.
Make sure you drink some water there, Scott.
Exactly.
I'm not old enough to talk biology yet, but So Tiny Toons Looniversity. For those who don't know, the first 2 episodes premiered last week on Cartoon Network. I think it was on the 9th. Now, there are 10 episodes available on Max, which would have premiered around the same time. And mind you, there are 13 episodes. So there are still 3 more episodes to come out. And obviously, there's going to be an episode a week periodically on network. But if you do want to go ahead and binge the full 10, you can. This show, I hate to use the word fine, but it's one of those things where I had high hopes that they were going to go in maybe a completely ticked up mentality with the animation. And speaking of Warner Brothers, considering what Warner Brothers has done with other franchises like Scooby, like Harley Quinn, where they've been able to go ahead and project more, not necessarily mature content, but they've certainly been able to make content that's a little more for differing ages. Considering this one is supposed to be set more college-wise than high school-wise or middle school-wise like the original show was, I figured they would go ahead and increase the maturity a little bit, some of the content a little bit, but this is pretty much as generic a reboot as you could possibly get. Like, half of the characters don't even get time to shine, or they've been rebranded to a sense where it's a little bit more. I hate to use the term PC, but it feels PC,
A little bit,
where
yeah.
it's too safe in some cases, and um, I'm a little upset because I feel like Tiny Toon Adventures was probably more mature, more edgy, and more memorable than this new show is, where
But
it had like the perfect landscape to actually pump up things a little bit.
Kyle, do you
to
want to?
but
Yeah.
it's like to an extent, how much of that is view is going from either a nostalgic glasses or when you were younger it felt more edgy, even though it might not be when watching it again. But I've seen a couple episodes too. It it's like
So wait, which have you watched it from the Cartoon Network or from Max?
Max.
Okay, so you're at least watching things in order.
Yes.
Because the thing is, they had episode 1 and episode 7
Yes.
showcase on Cartoon Network. Don't know why the split, but that's
Yeah.
what they did.
Different
Why they
networks,
jumped that
different
far
things.
ahead on it?
Yeah.
It's like
But
one
it's
of all these
like
characters, Kent is leaving now.
but yeah, it's like it definitely is a reboot.
Mm.
Rather than like what they did with Animaniacs, where it was more of a continuation
Mhm.
Yes.
from that.
Oh, we're getting
gonna
to
get
that
to
one.
that one. Believe me. But believe that.
Yeah, no,
Woo!
don't. Yeah, exactly.
We're gonna discuss that one. Believe me.
Mhm. Oh yeah, the whole. But it's like they also changed some of the characters around a little bit. It's a little bit understatement, but it does feel safer.
Mhm.
It feels like it's made for kids now,
Yes.
and which all shows that are made from kids now go through I don't know how many numbers of focus groups rather than just letting the animators and writers do what they do.
Hmm.
So it does feel sterilized. How about that?
It does. It's funny because I watched, for some reason, like I said, Cartoon Network had the premiere episode where everybody's introduced to each other, all this kind of stuff, and then the 7th episode where it's like Hampton leaves, and obviously, he comes back as part of the main story. Here's the thing. I think I liked it more than either of you did, understanding that this
I
was
didn't think it was bad.
It was, listen, it was okay.
I thought it was
It wasn't,
dull.
I mean, I think it was better. Yeah, well, thank you. Plucky
was
was one of my
okay.
favorite characters.
Well, no,
Plucky was always a jerk.
Yes, Plucky
Plucky
has
was always a
always
jerk.
been a prick.
But not like
Plucky
this.
has always
He
been
was,
that duck.
listen, he was a likable jerk in the original one. And I mean,
was
to this
daffy.
day, my wife and I still say, basically, water go down the hole, elevator to go, we still say that now.
Yeah,
So,
but that's baby Plucky. That was when he didn't.
but see, it was one of those things where Plucky was arrogant, but he was likable. Now he's just arrogant. I wasn't a fan of that. But I
Kind of like what they did with that one character from DuckTales. The inventor guy.
Yes, Gyro Gearloose.
Yeah, him. It's like in the original DuckTales, he was, he was okay, and then they just made him insufferable
Mm-hmm.
in the reboot or the new one.
I think part of the problem is I heard something once that if you're going to introduce a new series, movie, anything like that, you can never introduce more than 7 characters because the audience gets lost after 7. Magnificent Seven, Seven Samurai. Part of the problem with Street Fighter, the movie, is you had all these characters. Bam, you never got enough airtime for all of them. This show also suffers a little bit from that from 13 episodes. I do think the idea of Hampton wanting to be a doctor and trying to follow in his mom's comedic, shadow and be like, no, you want to become a comedian like me. That's don't get a responsible job, be a comedian. I liked that part of it because I think it added a nice little dynamic to it. But yeah,
Hampton's family was
for
unique.
one episode, like the main antagonist of the entire original series.
Yeah,
he gets one episode.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, there's too many characters. 13 episodes, okay, fine, but the advantage to the original series is that we had never. That was the first, I believe, animated series that Steven Spielberg ever did. He had a few, he had Animaniacs, Freakazoid, I think Hysteria he may have done, but Tiny Toons, the first one, was new because oh my God, the Jaws guy is doing cartoons. He's supposed to got some dinosaur movie coming out soon, and it was unique. Here, it's geared really towards, I would say, 6-year-olds even. We're 8. I think you might even be too old for this.
I'd say it's around. They're trying to like represent a kid's view of what college might be. Which
And even then, it's
kind of
still
hard. That's kind of hard to do.
college. It's
Yeah.
essentially high school. The only difference is they're living in dorms.
Yeah.
That's it.
It's
Which,
boarding
by the
school.
way, should we just address what was already established before?
Well,
Yeah.
hold on. As far as the characters go,
Okay.
Actually, can we zoom out and see more of this picture, if possible?
Let me see if I can find. Here we go. Hang on, working on it.
Yeah, because I just want to make a point. Half of the characters here barely get any screen time.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas back in the original show, like every other episode would be something other than Buster and Babs.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Or even in a Buster and Babs episode, they'll be background characters.
Yes.
Right, which a lot of these characters are background characters, and it's funny enough, that's where a lot of the humor comes in.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
The only times I actually giggled during all 10 episodes was when stuff was happening to the nonverbal background characters because of the incidents that 4 or 5 would do.
Mm-hmm.
And it just was like boggling my mind where, look, I never laughed at Calamity and Little Beeper before. I'm laughing at them now.
It's just
It's so much
visual humor
than what we're getting.
It's good visual humor.
That's where I think I struggle a little bit because I don't like. I'm not a slapstick humor kind of guy. You know, I have a verbal humor. You give me a verbal, comedy, which the first one was good at. Animaniacs was great at it. My God.
Oh, yeah. Mind you, hold up. I won't give you that. Dizzy, they upgraded a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Where they actually gave Dizzy some intelligence as opposed to how dumb he was in the original. I dig it. I dig Dizzy. I dig Dizzy. I dig Plucky. Everything else,
personally, I actually kind of liked what they did with Shirley, but I'm not a big fan of what they did with Sweetie.
Well, Shirley is still Shirley.
Girl boss Sweetie, you mean?
Not even necessarily girl boss. It's like there were some characters that they changed around completely.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you have a recognizable character and then you basically 180'd them.
I don't remember what Sweetie was like in the original, to be honest.
It was basically
Sweetie was just pretty much sarcastic. She and Furball had their cat and bird dynamic.
Okay.
And every so often, Sweetie would just like yell, and it would just like deafen everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like it had. Yeah, Sweetie had a gimmick, sure, but then they switched her around. I'm like, you could have used a different character for this.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Why are they upticking Tweety and not Lil Sneezer, who's still got his gimmick?
Well, they should. Well, honestly, they should have made Shirley more of a focus instead.
What I think is going to hurt this series also a little bit. I think it'll be okay. I think it'll do probably.
By the way, Rob, I'm sorry if we're racing you out. I know you had no intention of the show. I know you have no memory of the original show.
Yeah, basically for us old people who remember Tiny Toons in its original iteration, you not even being sperm yet. Yeah.
Well, hold on. That just
wait.
No. Oh, I grew up with this.
When did the original come out?
1992.
Okay, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, sorry, you were not sperm.
But
I was gonna say you got upper 30s and above here.
Oh yeah. Rob. As someone who never grew up with the original, you see the trailer for this. You see the availability. Did you happen to see any of the episodes?
I haven't watched any of the original, and I haven't watched any of this one at all. I just I haven't had time today because it came out today, right?
It came out, I think, over the weekend. It was available on Max.
Well, I think we all know.
Well, if it helps, you guys are the only ones that have talked about this. I mean, I haven't seen it on my newsfeed at all.
1990? Wow.
I mean, just
wow.
Tiny Toons was in 1990? Wow, okay. Yeah, definitely.
But based upon what you're seeing here,
you're right.
Based upon the trailers and everything, is this something that would interest you at all?
I'm gonna be honest because I don't lie about this stuff. I haven't even seen the trailer because I never really had interest in the first place on this because I felt that it was a knockoff of the Looney Tunes, and I mean it kind of is because they all represent, and actually it confused me as a kid seeing this stuff like they look like all the Looney Tunes, but they're not the Looney Tunes.
Which of course they do have the Looney Tunes as the teachers of this school, voiced by some of the original Toon cast.
Yes.
So what, like their teachers is like Bugs Bunny or Lola?
Exactly.
Bunny?
100%.
Yeah, these are characters that are learning to be like the greats.
Okay. So it's a spin-off show, but then this you're saying is a total reboot, has nothing to do with, they don't even mention the original series at all. Is that what I'm hearing?
Not
Yeah,
that
yeah.
long.
The original series never happened
Yeah.
in this case.
According
It's
to this.
multiverse. We're at a different timeline.
See, and
This being the lamer
that's a really missed opportunity. I hate, and is it because they had to change, like how, like I know you guys are about to talk about it because somebody was mad in the comments about the two bunnies being brother and sister, then not being a couple. You think that's why they had to like not canonize it?
Yes.
They weren't a couple last time either.
They were working on it,
They
though.
kind of were.
They
Sort
were.
of.
A little bit.
They were dating to a certain degree.
Sort of.
Like they were each
There was
other's
what they
underlying
should've-
romance
They were
between them.
friends. Yes.
What they should have did is just like, and I meant this would have probably been sappy, but just did an episode at the beginning of it, just say, "Hey, we're just friends," you know, and then
They kind of did.
move. Well, I meant instead of
They're-
saying we're brother and sister, you
Well,
know.
They said
Their
that a lot.
original catchphrase was Buster and Babs Bunny, no relation. That
Yeah.
was part of their catchphrase, flat out.
which was even
Back
referenced
in
in
the day?
Animaniacs by Richard
Yeah.
Lewis.
Yeah, that's how they would introduce themselves.
Okay.
Buster and Babs Bunny, no relation.
And there was an episode of Animaniacs with the Ark, and they went on the Ark. They're supposed to be Bad Bunny, no relation. And Noah, voiced by Richard Lewis, is like, thank God this is a children's show.
Thank God this is a children's show.
But see,
Yeah.
that's the thing. Even back then, they were able to tackle things
And they lampshaded.
that would have appealed to kids of that age that this show won't even touch.
Right.
Like all 10 episodes, not a single romantic arc in the whole thing. And this
So,
is supposed to
wait.
be college.
And this
Yeah.
is the thing. You got this diverse group. I mean, here's the thing. It was Buster and Babs, it was Plucky and Shirley, and it was Hampton and Fifi LaFume.
Yes.
Some were more serious than others, but that was just kind of always there.
Fifi was pretty much anything with legs.
Which basically, she was male Pepe. Am I allowed to still say Pepe Le Pew? Is that allowed?
I haven't
Well,
seen
you
Pepe.
can act. No,
Oh,
no,
he's
no.
not going to be in this. But am I allowed to even say the name?
Oh yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, why not?
I know why
You
Scott's
recognize
saying
the character.
because the character's canceled. That's why Scott's asking.
Yeah, he's like Speedy Gonzalez. You're not going to see
Um,
Speedy Gonzalez in this series either.
Oh, don't get me started on the use of canceled
Yes,
animation.
and
I just had to
actually,
watch this today's episode of Futurama, where Zap Brannigan gets canceled
Oh,
because
brilliant.
Kif
Oh,
puts
God. It's gonna be great.
in a thing against him. So Zap Brannigan has to go to sensitivity training, and he ends up getting bullied by the teacher.
But here's the thing. They lampshade it.
Mhm.
They lampshade it and make it the focus of the jokes.
And
Right.
Zach Brannigan's gold anytime he's on camera anyway.
But yeah, with these, it's like
Which is
Well, he's
Zap.
basically
Zap is Fry, which is also the professor.
Well, it was supposed to be Phil Hartman was supposed to be the original voice of Zach Brannigan. But
May he
when,
rest.
he didn't, when he passed
Yeah.
away 25 years ago now, oh my God.
But yeah, don't get me started on. I know, Wamba, just to comment on 10 episodes, no Elmira yet.
So,
Yeah.
so this show, okay, because we kept saying 13, so this show's 10, not 13.
10
There's
aired
10
so
episodes
far.
on
Oh,
Max. There's apparently 3 more per IMDb, and only 2 have premiered on Cartoon Network.
So there's 3 episodes they're withholding. Is it going to be like a weekly thing?
It might be one of those things where it's like weekly or seasonal, or they
Okay.
may just be working out the dates because of like the strike. I don't know what the situation.
How
may
many
be.
episodes did we have in the original Tiny Toons?
Oh, like 120
in a year,
something.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that was a show that just did not end.
Yes. Okay.
No reruns for like years, and it was awesome. But
233 episodes of the original series.
200. Oh God.
Oh, hey, basically, hey, look at this. We got Daffy Duck here.
Hey.
Yeah, Daffy,
Yeah.
Daffy, as someone who has played
Professor
on
Daffy,
this
yeah.
show, let us know what your time on Tiny Toon Looniversity was, so that this way we can get like a first-hand perspective. I know during the strike we can have actors talking about the shows that they're on, but Daffy, if you have the opportunity,
And you're non-union.
and
Well-
you're non-union, I don't know what it is,
Well-
but
Well, cartoons are non-union.
Not always.
Well,
Not always, sir.
Well, true.
Look, if the Animaniacs had to go ahead and sign new contracts, chances are there was some union dues there.
Yeah.
Okay, I was gonna say I know like that's why a lot of the voice actors that I've met they can talk about their stuff because a lot of the animation or video games are non-union stuff.
So,
100 episodes, 3 seasons, Tiny Toon Adventures, and 233 shorts. Thank you, Daffy Duck.
Okay. Because not every episode was just the full 23 minutes. Some of it
and then
was
also they had the Plucky
like
show.
3 shorts each.
They eventually had the Plucky show too, if you recall, too, as a spinoff.
Yes, Plucky got a spinoff. That's why Plucky was so good.
Yes, the first episode he was Batman. Because again, both Warner Brothers you can get away with.
Daffy Duck, Plucky Duck, Donald Duck. I'm a duck dude. All right. The ducks are always the best characters.
Duck Dodgers.
You got a lot of duck and love there.
Duck Dodgers, yes.
Yes, Duck
Dodgers.
Dodgers.
The only Looney Tunes get a space spinoff.
But see, this is where I think the advantage is for the original series, because the original series was 5 days a week.
I did watch that, by the way.
The advantage that you've got there is if you have this many characters, you might not get to them immediately, but you'll get to them on Thursday. You'll get to them next Tuesday. You got 5 episodes a week, so you can center a lot more around different minor characters and get away with it.
No, but it's just 10 episodes of these 5, and
let's see. The new
show was voice great. I mean, I guess they were okay. I mean, Bat Duck, that was the name of that.
Bat Duck.
Yes, Plucky is Bat Duck.
Yes,
Bat Duck.
God,
that was so good.
Bat Duck.
Bat Duck got 2 episodes.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, speaking of Bat Duck, I'm getting a comic book series that I've been looking at many conventions, and I texted one of my friends this weekend. They did a 90s series called Superman and Bugs Bunny, and on one of the covers, and it's a 4-part miniseries. On one of the covers, it's Daffy as Batman. So that's what
Plucky did it first.
Well, I don't know because we may have to see that series, and it's issue I think it's issue like 2 I think that you see Daffy as Batman.
I would say Plastic Man's been getting a lot more popularity lately.
Oh, I love Plastic Man.
Given my Plucky. Technically, Daffy Duck and Plucky Duck, there's no relation. But maybe this version of Plucky there is.
They're all students and mentors.
Yes.
Scott, and actually, if you watch the series, Buster is Daffy, Plucky's rival, not so much Babs.
Correction. Plucky thinks he's his rival. Buster doesn't care.
Yes.
Well, that's the thing. Buster, they've made just neutered. And Babs, they've taken all the ADHD out of Babs. Like, she was manic. She was the kid that just wouldn't shut up and did all the.
I mean, she was voiced by Tress Neal, who also did Dot Warner and Futurama.
And now her thing is just Pink Buster, and Buster is Blue Babs. They're like essentially the same character. They're just dull. The original characterizations that were instilled in these characters is gone. Now, Babs is the neat one when that should have been Hampton.
But see, it's like I said, I don't know if you necessarily can do that in 2023.
Hampton was the neurotic one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It still is in this case, but...
Well, less neurotic and more indecisive.
Mm.
Like, he's just there to be with everybody else rather than do his own thing. But he's also the one that gets propped up by everybody else. It's like, hey, it's okay if you're not funny. Yeah, but it's not okay if the whole cast isn't funny.
Well, here's the one. I remember there was a How I Spent My Summer Vacation episode of Tiny Toons, and Plucky ends up going on a trip with Hampton's family, and they're just this weird community unity group where it's like, the car odometer is about to break 50,000 miles, so they break out the 1992 camcorder.
It was 100,000 miles. Old Bessie. Bessie, and then they have to back it up, and then that decreases the mileage.
I think I had the lens cap. I'll back it up and do it again. It was so dumb, but it was great.
Question.
Yes.
Did they bring back the original voice actors to voice these characters?
Yes and no.
And
I think only one.
Mostly no.
Two.
Cree Summer and Montana Max came back, but all of the original Charles Adler, Tress MacNeille, Yeah, Tress MacNeille especially. My God, I mean, she's been a staple. She
Yeah.
was, she was Dot Warner. I mean, she
Yes.
was so much of what Warner Brothers was back in the 90s.
And she's from Futurama too.
I was going to say she's also
Yep.
big. Yeah, she's mom in Futurama and a bunch of
Yeah,
other
so
stuff.
it's not like she's not active, but they didn't bring her back for Babs.
But
My question is, because we ran in this situation with like the movie Scoob, did they even
we're going to
ask?
discuss that one, Daffy. Trust me.
Did they even ask the original cast members to come back for the show? Is my question. Because
No, they didn't. According to Charles Adler, they did not. They never asked him anyway.
Okay, because
Charles
I know they did that when they rebooted the Powerpuff Girls. That did terrible. The one they did in 2016, they didn't ask any of the original 3 to come back.
Or anything like that, no.
And then with the Scoob movie, the only person that was asked, to be in that movie was Scooby,
which Frank Welker, probably.
Frank Welker.
They didn't have him doing Fred though.
Well, no, they didn't have him do Fred. They only had him do Scoob, and they didn't ask anybody else, because I remember Gray talking about it, and Matthew Lillard was bummed because they didn't ask him.
See, this is what I'm seeing with like a certain thing where it comes to like these reboots and everything, where you're doing something based on nostalgia factor, and yet you're taking away core elements of that nostalgia. Now, Futurama at least did it right. They did the holdout. I mean, they made sure that, hey, we get everybody back, even John DiMaggio, which that was going to be an issue of controversy.
Yes,
but
it was.
They still got him back. And I think Futurama, even if some of the stuff is a little bit more current event as far as the plot writing, whether it be the COVID stuff, the Bitcoin stuff, the canceled stuff, because you still have that original talent, it flows a lot nicer than it would be then if somebody just went ahead and rebooted Futurama with a whole new cast of characters. So with this, it just does not have the same appeal. And to be honest, I don't know if kids nowadays are going to look at this and laugh either, because there's just such like I think Kyle might say a homogenized feeling.
It's formulaic.
It feels sterilized.
You see the jokes coming ahead of time.
Yeah, there's nothing fresh
that.
or reinventing about this show that makes that has the same tone of the original, where it's like, wow, they went there, they did that, that was different. No, this is cut and paste.
It feels sterilized. That's the word I used.
Speaking of sterilized, the bunnies. Oh
boy. Yeah, you know what? Let me start.
Yeah, we really still didn't touch on that. I think we're really trying to. Oh no! Oh. See, for this is normal to me. So Plucky's saying what he's saying. It's like, dude, yeah, okay.
He's like one step away from Oni-chan, you know.
Are they in Alabama?
I don't know, but here's the thing. This picture here, this is a screenshot from it. Now, these are brother and sister in college. Do you know any brothers and sisters that sit on each other's lap when I hit to college?
No.
Why is the bird soaking wet?
Because Buster was crying over Hampton leaving. So she's
okay.
But my point in this case here is that it's like I took this screenshot from an episode about it, half an hour ago.
I mean, the only thing I will say, the only thing I could say that I could see is like not exactly like that, but I could see brother and sister, but not really in college. I mean, if that was a high school thing, but I don't think they'd be holding them like that.
Yeah, again, that's what I was saying. Like for this show that's supposed to be set in a college-like environment.
Yeah.
Mind you, Acme Lou was even back in the original show, but then they treated it more like a high school or a middle school, where it was just like a little bit advanced, but it didn't have like the college aspects that this
The Japanese cast are back in the new Tiny Toons because the series was popular in Japan.
You're gonna love this. I'm looking at the Japanese cast literally right now. And the voice of Buster on this is the same guy who does the voice of Frieza.
Oh, that's cool.
Wow.
Well, see, that's the thing. When you get Japanese voices, they do so many cool things here. So, I mean...
Well, to be fair, animation is over in Japan is obviously more respected than it is here in the U.S. even.
Yeah, and basically the voice of Babs was also the voice of Yahiko and Rurouni Kenshin. Remember the 10-year-old kid?
Oh, wow. All right.
Yeah. So... like I said, you get good quality on this. Oh, I'm gonna rabbit hole the crap out of this one. I guarantee that. I'll tell you what.
Rabbit hole.
Oh yeah, okay.
Nah.
But yeah, it's disappointing to say the least, especially when it was a show that I was looking forward to. Unlike other shows that I was looking forward to that actually excelled in what they
Why
were supposed to be
is
doing.
it because it was on Cartoon Network? Why they couldn't have made it more adult?
But see,
Why?
I can't imagine that either, because
I
you've
believe
had
it's
shows
a
on Cartoon Network like
2023 thing.
Adventure Time and Steven Universe, things that were able to tackle certain material, and they did it in a way that was intriguing, different, kept the audience's attention.
Because
This
I'm
is
guessing they didn't. Did they do any college parties? Like go to an actual party with alcohol?
You had a Tiny Toon kegger.
no. Look, the original show had a whole episode about
Wacky
the
Land
three main
indeed.
guys drinking a single
That's right,
beer
They had
and then dying.
alcoholism.
And that episode was on the original show.
Yeah, and they got drunk out of their mind. Oh my god, I forgot
Off
about
one
that.
beer. All three of them sharing one
Just
beer.
one beer.
They ended up in like hobo clothes. They ended up drunk driving, careening off of the edge, becoming angels. That was the kind of stuff you got. That was the kind of writing you got.
I'm sorry, but that's the first thing I think of when I think of college. I mean, I didn't have that experience, but if they are at a dorm like they are, you would think they would have did some kind of episode like that. But because they've made it so, like you said, sanitized or culture sterilized.
Oh, in the
Sanitized
respect
works
of
too, though.
the boys in their issue, there was an episode where all three of the main girls, Babs, Fifi, and Shirley, they got invited to a Perfecto prep party, which was essentially like high school kids going to a college party. And they got all dressed up. They put on makeup. They tried to make themselves look more mature.
For this show or for
the original? The original.
Okay.
The original pulled this off, where they went to the party and they just stuck out like sore thumbs. They couldn't compete. They felt Fifi was almost getting attacked by a guy at the party, being chased around, where they had to go ahead and save her. And then they're like, yeah, we're not ready for mature guys yet. Maybe we'll just stick around and see how many things can be stuffed in Dizzy Devil's face.
Daffy, I didn't know you were friends with Hampton, though.
Yeah. There's three voices for Scooby that I know of being, there is the new Scoob, but I don't count that. But being Scott Innes, which did Scooby / Shaggy and a lot of the like Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island. Right. Then you've had Frank Welker, and then yes, you've had the person that has passed away. That was the original.
I remember that episode. Yeah, they stole candy.
Yeah,
adult episodes.
So, some of those episodes were straight up ambulicious.
Chocolate bar that went ahead and chased them. It's like
And fun fact: Billy West was Shaggy in Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island. He was Shaggy.
That works.
And Scott Imms was Scooby.
Well, see, I remember Frank Welker was. Frank Welker. Welker was the go-to guy for like any animal voice in Hollywood, cartoon Hollywood.
Well, in the '90s, that early those movies like the Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island, Scooby-Doo on Cyber Chase. I know Billy West was for sure on Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island. I don't know if that was his only Shaggy role. But then on the Cyber Chase one, which was one of my favorites, they had Scott Imms play, I think, Shaggy and Scooby in that one.
Was that the anime one where they battled alongside Kiss? They had that.
No. Cyber Chase was the one where they go inside the actual video game and they get to see like partners of themselves. Like it's a whole
like their video game versions basically look like their original versions.
Yes.
From the original animation.
So, question for Rob. So, if hypothetically in that episode, Shaggy were to see himself in a video game, what do you think Shaggy would say in that moment?
Why, Zoink Scoob? No,
all right. I thought I was going to get like a monologue out of that.
Well, in that they actually do see each other. Like they see themselves, and they actually, because of being by themselves, they actually like kind of like static, like because you can't be by each other. It's like a magnet in a way, or something. It's been a while since I've seen
knowledge.
Oh, they even had Furball. I felt so bad for Furball.
See, so this is kind of. I'm going to give a good example of what this show did. this is like the original Teen Titans
Hi, everybody.
versus Teen Titans Go.
Mhm. Oh,
But
yeah.
the only difference is they did bring back all the cast members from Teen Titans to voice in Teen Titans Go.
Sure.
But they changed the characters a lot, and they kind of made fun of different things that was more serious in the original show. They kind of gave,
hated
and then
Teen
we did
Titans
get
Go.
Teen Titans versus Teen Titans Go. I would love to see a this version versus the original version kind of movie.
The original version would make mincemeat of these.
Yes,
I
it would.
swear. The only
Because-
one that might survive is Sweetie.
Oh no, that's the joke. Kind of like how they did the Teen Titans versus Teen Titans Go.
But here's the thing: they wouldn't do that in this because this is a show that would want to not be mocked by the original.
Well,
But I'm just saying, who is this made for, though?
that's the question.
You know,
'Cause it's
okay. Here's what I'm thinking. You know, basically, you know how I feel about reboots across the board. Reboots already come pre-planned with basically the entire script, the entire character breakdown, the animation stuff. You don't have to build anything from scratch when you do a reboot. One Piece is included, but I'm going to give that a little bit of a pass here. In this case here, you have the blueprint for dozens upon dozens of episodes of all these characters, and you don't have to invent anything original. So you can just basically greenlight it, animate it, draw a couple things, make some changes, fire it right out of there. So it's more consumable content.
the question was, the One Piece show good?
Hell's yeah, it is.
I haven't seen it.
I have wanted
we
to
talked
talk
about
about
that,
One
so.
Piece for the longest time. And as great as the show is, I have not been able to come up with the words properly to do it. Who does a great expose on the whole show? If you go check out Jeff Through, he does Mother's Basement on YouTube. He pretty much did like an hour-long introspective on the live-action show compared to the original television show and manga. And he does it with such precision. Like, he is the guy that you want to definitely talk to about anime because he is just in the thick of it. But
what's the channel?
Mother's Basement.
Okay.
So, because Netflix did, you're gonna basically, I know we're about to talk this. You said they did a good job. Does it give you hopes for the My Hero Academia live action that they're doing, if they stay in the steps of what they did with this show?
It really does. Simply because, like he points out, Jeff Through, he says that of any anime that you were going to go ahead and turn into a live action series, One Piece probably would have been the most difficult to do, simply because in many aspects, whether it's from the East Blue Saga and going forward, so much of this is pretty much just a world where anything is possible, much in the same vein as, say, Tiny Toon Adventures, where it is a world like a cartoon. Anything can be done and does get done. So the fact that they were able to condense so much and bring out still the good bits and bad bits of these characters, their flaws and their strengths, and still keep it captivating from a live action standpoint, is in itself almost a miracle for Netflix. Because, I mean, obviously they have a track record. But,
Yeah.
I mean, this gives a lot of hope that they'll actually get a season 2 rather than a lot of the shutdown stuff that they've gotten. It gives new credence to what may come from Netflix, provided they keep this model and the producers go ahead and try different things, sure, because I'm sure the Gundam series that they have going on, that's going to be something completely different than My Hero Academia and One Piece altogether. And that's the beauty of anime, that even though it is all animation, there are still different things that you can do with that format. So hopefully we get a Gundam that's pretty much more like the space war drama that the original Gundam was like. You know,
see, this is where my problem is with any kind of reboot.
uh-oh.
You know, it's like I've already seen East Blue. I've already seen the battle between Luffy and Arlong and all this kind of stuff, and and fighting for for Nami. It's like I don't need to see a live action version of what I've already seen and frankly read. So I would rather use my downtime. If I'm going to watch them, I'll watch Demon Slayer, where I know nothing about it and there's no live action reboot. I mean, if I'm JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, whatever, here, Friendship is Magic or whatever season it's on. They have, like I said, it's new content. So to me, I'd rather use that time for new content as opposed to rebooted from a different perspective. That's my whole thing there.
So did you watch it, Scott, or you haven't watched it?
I watched 7 minutes of the first episode. That's as far as I got.
Wow.
And also different.
Did they do? Okay, question for you, Ryan. Did they stay pretty close to the characters and to the storyline, the way they should have?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, there are definitely some things that they have changed in order to, I'd say, hasten things along, because we are talking about roughly 61 episodes of an anime being condensed into 8 relatively films for the length that you're getting and the style that you're getting.
How many watch minutes is those 8-ish episodes?
Roughly about 8 hours. You're looking at about an hour an episode.
So basically, you're getting 8 episodes. I'm sorry, 8 episodes per episode.
If I'm doing math, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
How is that in this case? Let me ask you this: how is that different from Avatar: The Last Airbender?
In what context?
Well, Avatar: The Last Airbender, the M. Night Shyamalan one that never had the sequels, did 20 episodes in 2 hours. This is 80 episodes in 8 hours.
No, he said they're 60 episodes, right?
61.
61. Okay. So 61 episodes. So you're knocking it down. Okay. So about 7 episodes each. So you're
about 7.5, but yeah.
Actually, probably less than 61 because we're talking East Blue and they haven't gone to lockdown yet.
So maybe, so it's a little bit easier than what Avatar did, where they're already on their quest halfway through the movie. By the way, what's your name?
Yeah, no. They definitely have to flesh out each character. And mind you, there is stuff that they do with these characters that they don't necessarily do with the anime because of the certain time skipping that needs to happen. Then they are able to go ahead and maybe flesh out more of the characterizations in this time during East Blue, where you'd have to wait for some of this characterization to come about later on in the series because you have to make time for all the fights and all the backstories. Like, I'm sorry, you don't need 2 to 3 to 4 episodes to tell the past of somebody. And that's where the anime kind of falters, where it's a lot of filler. They take out a good amount of filler, and they really just get to the meat and bones of this sort of thing. So there's a better flow to some of it. And I will say some of the characters get more time to shine than they originally had in East Blue, and it's for the better. Like, I hate to say it, but people are thirsting for Buggy now. Like Buggy is the new Joker.
Buggy was kind of the first major-ish villain. I mean, not like Arlong, but the first recognizable one.
Right, but as far as noting that Buggy is somebody that is a long-standing character and not just a simple arc.
Buggy was a big character though, even in the anime. That's the thing. Early on, especially he was like an early on arc villain.
Yeah.
Yes, he was. But the thing is, as opposed to someone like, say, Arlong or Kuro or some of the other villains of East Blue that were they came and went because of the origin stories of bringing in this new member to the Straw Hats, Buggy is somebody that has long-standing resilience throughout the Straw Hat story. So the fact that they go ahead and give time for them, for Kobe, for Garp, for
you always need
what's the one that's with Kobe? Pomego or Pomelo? One with the funny hair.
Yeah, it definitely gives Joker vibes for sure.
Yeah.
See, that's just creepy.
But people are just he does a fantastic job.
Helmeppo.
He really does.
Helmeppo
actually gives me Pennywise vibes.
Yeah.
In that picture.
He's a little more Joker psychotic, but
that's kind of what Buggy was.
Yeah, no, exactly.
He was psychotic.
Yeah, I mean, he's
kind of on the more comedic side, especially with his interactions with Shanks.
I want to take that picture and make the meme. Do you want to know how I got these scars?
Yeah, except it's all face paint. The scars come elsewhere.
Buggy, the only one that can't be cut. Or no, technically he can be cut.
As far as these live action people embracing these characters, they put a lot of time and effort into it. The guy who played Sanji learned how to cook and cooked for the crew.
True, yes.
Just so he could be in that kind of
character. He also learned kickboxing.
He only cooks a little bit in these episodes. He's not even in all 8. He's
Yeah.
like halfway through.
Now, in this case with Sanji, is he still the same Lothario, or do they tone that down some?
They toned it down some, but he still does make some passes that get
yes,
boofed.
and he gets ignored by Nami a lot.
Of course. Well, that's been the staple throughout, and then anybody else that shows up.
Yeah, but they don't go to the cartoony end with a lot of like the reactions or the love lust with like the hard eyes and all that. He just tries to be
Mommy's
smooth, and maybe to a certain extent he is, but not it doesn't work.
Buggy.
The pirate with the claw hands was my favorite. Kuro, yes.
Kuro. Yeah.
Which
Kuro.
whoever they got to play Kuro, outstanding job. Like there is not a cosplayer in the world that could have done better. I'm sorry. Like
yeah, they did a good job.
These people that they get for the casting is spot on. These people really embrace their characters. And I think that's part of why, Scott, you want to maybe sometimes see a show like this. Because when you have something like One Piece that has the fan base that it does, and it has all the people that cosplay in it, I'm sure Rob has seen a lot of people dress up like a Straw Hat Luffy or a Nami or Zoro. I actually have a friend, Tori. She just did a female Zoro cosplay and looks awesome. And when you have these characters that these people want to embrace, that they want to feel like they're a part of, to actually see a live action version of it, to make it real, that is really a great selling point for stuff like this. Because you can say, yes, I have the original to look at, but when you're actually taking the original to look at and you're enhancing it, not what Disney does and just puts it out there. No, when you actually enhance the character and you make it so real that it's almost like you're doing it yourself, or you could do it yourself one day, that is where you get the fandom hooked.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It helps when effort is put into it, instead of just, as you said, just putting them out there.
Slap a bow and throw it out, yeah.
Right. Like to take, for example, the Cowboy Bebop version.
Well, it's like, I don't want to knock the actors, because I'm sure some of the actors do try.
Right.
It's just they're written poorly.
Yeah.
Or they're written without necessarily the mentality of the character intact.
Yeah, or
the Death Note.
Or the director doesn't even care about the source material, who wants to make their own version of
what is this?
Like the guy who played Jet Black here. Did an outstanding Jet Black.
Yes.
I'm sure there were probably some people that were like, that's the Jet Black that I wish.
Spike was good too. Spike and Jet were great. It's just
I don't see anybody wanting to be this Faye.
No,
I didn't see anybody.
They changed her character around.
They modernized Faye Valentine. That's why.
Yeah.
Oh, and even Vicious. No,
it's like the look of Faye is fine. It's just
there was an example of not embracing the character per se and just simply doing a cosplay.
Yes. Absolutely. And it is a shame, because apparently the actors for Spike and Jet, they were into it.
Yeah.
And they tried. It's just sometimes you just can't save bad writing, which is hard to say when it comes to Cowboy Bebop. It hurts to say that. But One Piece,
then you have
but they learned
where all the cast, and all the people that are playing these actors, playing these characters, they are fans. They are embracing it. They
Most
are
of them,
enjoying it.
Yeah.
Like
in One Piece,
Yeah, when you have the creator of the series and the original Japanese voice actor pretty much accepting you into the fold and placing the straw hat on your head as if to say, you can now run where we have walked.
They had like they had the thematic stuff, which is nice.
And the fight scenes. Oh, the fight scenes were so fresh
are fun.
in One Piece.
They're fun. That's the thing. It's like it feels like everyone's having fun with it.
Yes, and putting their all into it. Like the Mother's Basement points out, these actors are in these fight scenes. All right, it's not
Sanji's doing his own stunts.
No, these people are doing their punches, their sword throws. Makanyu, grandson of Sonny Chiba, You know, he's doing all that sword fighting.
Absolutely.
That is epic.
Yeah. It's good stuff.
And that's why I say it really embodies what every fan, what every cosplayer wish the world could be, wish they could be in it. When you see people really doing it live and it's not all jump cutty and fake and superimposed.
And yes, and and as you mentioned before, the creator is involved. So the source material is getting that look over. It's getting that approval. Because we see it so much with existing IPs when they're made into live action stuff.
Dragon Ball.
You got that.
Hey,
you got
if it wasn't for
Avatar: The
Dragon Ball
Last
Evolution, we
Airbender.
wouldn't have Super.
Well, it's like you have these directors that just don't care about the source material. They just go into that pretentious, I'm making my own spin on things. Or I'm making my own version of it.
They gave me the money, so I'll do it.
Exactly. It's like,
Well,
you see this with the Michael Bays. You see this with the M. Night Shyamalans. You see it with the egotistical pricks that decide to basically. It's like, I understand you want to try to make at least some touch of your own, but when they completely disregard everything in the past, the things that caused this IP to be ridiculously popular in the first place, and you go completely out of left field with it, or just completely hard right into what the hellville, you're gonna and then they come back and look like, why wasn't this successful? Oh well, I guess anime's not popular. No, it's because you guys are friggin' idiots.
Well, see, here's the thing. A lot of times you will get a director who they ignore the source material because this is meant to be funding their next project, and their next bill. I will use Rian Johnson as an example. Rian Johnson thought himself above the Star Wars franchise and made the movie he wanted to make, not the movie J.J. Abrams or George Lucas wanted to make. And as a result, in his own admission, he said that the best kind of movie is the one where half the population likes it and the other half hates it. He made his movie. And of course, the franchise went downhill from there. So when you have someone who directs something and sees themselves as bigger than what the IP is, then you're toast. With what you're saying about One Piece, the directors on this do not see themselves above the IP itself. Dragon Ball Evolution, the writer, the director, saw themselves above that. They saw themselves above Jackie Chan. Jackie Chan was supposed to be in Dragon Ball Evolution, and they turned him down. They turned down everything from Akira Toriyama. And as a result, what ended up happening? We got Dragon Ball Super. Release. Yeah. Akira Toriyama made Dragon Ball Super and Resurrection of F because of Dragon Ball Evolution. So interesting positive there.
And look, it's popular. Oh look, people like it. How about that?
Dude,
and then you just get these idiot boardrooms saying like, we put so much money on it. What went wrong?
At what point do I do Stream Punk Dragon Ball?
Dragon Ball Jeopardy.
Dude, I will crush you guys.
No, you would. No. You probably would.
I will lay down $20 to your dollar that I will win that. $20 each.
I don't know. What would you say? Do you think Davion would be able to hold the candle to it?
I don't know. But here's the thing. I got into Dragon Ball back during the Buu saga in Japan.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah. I held that for dramatic effect. Yes, I got into Dragon Ball in 1993. So I'm 30 years in now.
Rob would get more points.
That was about when I first saw it.
Rob, but it depends on the Jeopardy one. You know what? We really should do this. I feel like I have a challenge here in front of me here because I want to see if my words can back that up. But it's funny because it's like
I know more about Dragon Ball than I will ever know about Street Fighter. So,
what about Dragon Ball versus Street Fighter?
What?
Hey, dude, I got that on my Mugen anyway. So.
Well, he just broke his system.
That's terrible.
That's terrible.
You just broke his laptop. Good job.
No, I'm on my phone, but thank you.
You broke his phone. Good job.
There.
See, my phone couldn't handle Street Fighter versus Dragon Ball.
Well, just watch Death Battle.
Yeah.
Yes, I love Death Battles. Those are amazing.
I just wanted
to point out one more thing regarding One Piece before we go on to the next topic. the writer went on to the writer for and showrunner for One Piece. He went ahead and explained how he got the approval from Oda to do the show, and he stated it like this: I looked at him and said, when I was in my early 20s, I went through a really, really bad depression. I was trying to find a series that I could watch that would occupy all of my time so I didn't have to think of anything or do anything. I had One Piece when anime was really big for me in high school and stuff, but it didn't click for me at that time. So I finally made a decision after the 4Kids horrendous rendition. This was the time to watch One Piece. I told Oda, one of the great things about One Piece is it's really a story about how everyone has tragedy, pain, sadness in their life, but it's not what defines you. What defines you is how you use that to motivate your future, and that no one has to do it alone. No one in this world has to be alone. When you find those people around you who motivate you and lift you up and help you, that's the greatest power in this world. And that is the story I want to put out into this world. And basically he said, Oda said, you are the only person that can do this One Piece show.
All right.
That's one way to get approval.
But I mean, that shows the commitment that these people have to something like this.
Yeah.
And it shows.
It's not taking necessarily something what's popular. It's them putting the same amount of heartfelt compassion that every fan has into talking about the show.
If you know, in this case, Ryan, I'm going to say something that in a positive way is even going to disappoint you. One of the things that happens with shows like this, you know, and I'm going to use like Greatest Showman as an example, or Boardwalk Empire as an example.
Okay.
95% of what you see on camera, it basically never shows up. So what you see in the finished product, there is 20 times more that is made in set dressing and specifics that you will never see. I'm going to give you an example. Years ago, 12 years ago, when I did Men in Black 3, you know, 1969, it was just, you know, just regular scene. They gave us coins that all existed, basically were all printed and minted before 1969. Every single coin they gave to every background person. They had 101 PAs to cover that day because it was a Saturday and Sunday in June on like 34th Street in like, you know, in Manhattan. So you can imagine without, and they made no mask whatsoever to try and hide what this was. They're like, this is Men in Black 3. There's Will Smith over there, you know, but the amount of detail, the newspapers were basically reprints of everything before 1969. You know, Boardwalk Empire, the one time I was on the boardwalk, there was stuff in there that never shows up in the series. You know, just the storefronts, the nuances, the way they decide to build certain things in the floorboards, and all of these kind of things that you can only understand if you are actually there. You know, Greatest Showman is another example of that. Me and my buddy Rich would just walk up and down during lunch and just look at all this stuff, knowing that none of this stuff was going to show up. So with a show like this, where set dressing went nuts and built
boats.
What's that?
They built boats.
That's what I'm saying.
But all this on the show were actual boats.
Yeah, and all that stuff doesn't show up, which kills me from a set dressing standpoint.
The snails, the snail comes.
You know,
which, by the way, everyone's saying Chopper needs to be a Muppet. I don't know if that's correct.
No, you got to figure out how you're going to
call Jim Henson's company.
You know.
I mean, don't kid. They made the Ninja Turtles real. So, I mean, they could do, like, if you get, like, a child actor that's short enough, you could make a Muppet for that kid.
So, did they not have Chopper in the show?
The thing is, this whole series takes place in, like, the first part, East Blue, before the Grand Line. They get Chopper on, like, the first or second island that they actually land on in the Grand Line. So if anything, Chopper will show up in season 2. And Chopper is probably going to be the first real difficulty that they have for that season, because while you had characters like the Arlong Pirates, the Fishmen, and they showed up in the series, they were not consistent enough in the series to really be a detriment to the production. But for the characters that you're going to get eventually down the line for the Straw Hats, It's going to be more and more complicated to bring these characters to life on an episode by episode basis because they are going to cost more money. The core 5 are probably like the easiest characters to present.
They're very stereotypical.
And
You know.
well, Nico Robin's pretty easy to.
Yeah,
to
but once
show
all
us
the hands start have to pop out of every place.
That
You
can
can CGI
that can CGI in real easily.
Who do you get?
well,
Out of all things to CGI in, having some hands pop out somewhere
between
is really
Chopper,
easy.
Between Frankie,
Frankie would be
Frankie's
tough.
way down the line now. Frankie's 100.
Frankie would be tough.
Yeah.
don't
Cyborg
get me
Frankie.
started on Jinbei once they get that far in the line, if they get
If
that
they
far
do.
in the line. Because that's a big dude.
Rook.
Brooke is a skeleton. Brooke, you can just like take a plastic skeleton and
Skeleton
probably
in a suit.
Yeah, but
do it like
they're
a
gonna also they're gonna have to modernize Brooke because you can't get away with that kind of dialogue. You know, I mean, the hentai-esque, ecchi version that is Brooke, is not going to really fly on American Netflix.
So many requests for underwear.
Are we gonna have a bone to pick with that character?
He'll sing.
That's the kind of joke Brooke would make.
He'll make
Yeah.
you sing.
Yeah, I've met him. That's Ian Sinclair.
Oh, I'm going
Wonderful
to
dude.
drown.
he does
Oh
a
wait, I'm
fantastic job.
already dead.
What were you gonna say, Ryan?
No, he does a fantastic job. Like I'm at episode 428 so far of the anime. As of right now, Brooke is my favorite character. Like
Oh yeah, he's awesome.
all of his lines
Sanji's mine.
are just spot on compared to everybody else.
Sanji and
If it
Sabo.
tells you
Sanji's
anything, his Funko Pop for the New York Comic Con with the actual stickers like $1,000, not signed.
Wow.
Sure.
Yeah,
But yeah, look at Bone Daddy right there.
Yeah.
yeah.
Soul King.
He's a wonderful dude.
Bet you can't wait for Soga King
Yeah.
Wait,
from Snyder
wait.
Island.
We
Complete
interviewed
with theme
him.
song.
Didn't we interview Ian Sinclair?
Ian Sinclair, yes, because he was also Whis in Dragon Ball.
Yeah, we got to interview him on the channel.
Really
Go
tall,
ahead and
thin
check that out
characters.
if, for all you One Piece fans. We have
Yes.
Brooke on interview.
And we'll be having some new interviews coming up this week because Rob's had a lot happen since we've been on last because just went to Arkansas Comic Con and we got to be press, which was kind of a last minute thing, but it was great. Wonderful event. We got to interview John Glover. Y'all know him from Smallville.
I know him from Gremlins, the new batch, personally.
Yes, he was in Gremlins
Gremlins 3 coming out,
too. We got to interview George Newbern, which is Superman.
The newer
and
Superman.
Yeah, and he's from the Father of the Bride, or is that the name of the movie with us? With the
Steve Martin.
Yeah, Steve Martin, Father of the Bride.
Just seeing you struggle with Steve Martin.
You know how my brain is.
It's the old guy, the funny guy with the white hair. He was in the Naked Gun. No.
The guy
that's
from
little.
Cheaper by a Dozen. Thank you. But
Trains,
we
planes,
got
and
to-
automobiles. Or am I thinking of someone else?
No. I was saying
Yeah.
Naked Gun to confuse him with Leslie Nielsen, but still.
and then we got to
Wrongfully
interview
accused.
again
Oh,
Steve Burden, and that was a fun one.
nice.
And
The
then,
big bad of One Piece stretches depends on the arc.
Yeah.
Well,
Though supposedly like the overarching one would be the Celestial Dragons.
I
Supposedly.
mean, yeah, I mean, if you're talking about One Piece as a whole, but if we're talking about One Piece of the live action series, it's definitely Arlong.
Right now,
they stretch
yes.
out Arlong's influence throughout the episodes where
Mhm.
it really is Nami's story for the majority of the
Yeah.
anime in that
like-
sense, because we're basically following her on her adventure until things clear up on the Orange Isles. And with this, everyone still has the little bit to shine, but they really push Arlong's involvement and his
Yes.
mode of operandi for what he wants to do with the Fishmen and the Fishmen supremacy. He actually, the guy playing Arlong, has a great speech
Mhm.
when I think he was talking to Nezumi about
Yes.
the Fishmen and their persecution. Like
Mhm.
It's a shame that we're not going to see more of him because he did a pretty decent job.
Yeah.
So, I'd say made Arlong seem more relatable rather than just a cookie cutter tough guy.
Yeah, and even in the anime series, Arlong was probably the first real main villain. It's like every other villain like lasted maybe like 3 episodes at tops.
Well,
Arlong
each of those
lasted a
villains were
full
like
season.
character
Well,
specific.
it was like Don, like Don Krieg or something like that.
Yeah, which thank God they got rid of Don Krieg. I mean, he's in there, but he's not as utilized. It's like
he's basically a one-shot villain who gets pretty quickly.
Yeah, and then that's the thing. I think they have an understanding about who is filler content and who
Yes.
not I'd say the only major misstep is Hachi because he's going to be so necessary later on. But then again, how are you going to animate all that?
Yeah, it's like
Damn octopus
they are kind of picking and choosing, but right now they're picking correctly. And
Yes.
so no, Arlong is basically let's see, rather than like an arc villain, I'd say that he is more your disc 1 villain.
Right. And we already have an idea about who would be showing up for season 2.
Well, disc 2 is going to be Crocodile.
Well, no, season 2 with the little bump at the end of the 8th episode. Like, it seems like they already have their smoker lined up.
Okay, so they're going to go with the smoker's involvement.
Well, yeah,
because smoker and then they'll probably that's where they'll probably introduce Chopper.
Chopper will be later on down the line because you'll have Logtown and then you'll have Laboon with the crossover.
Yeah,
and then
the early One Piece is the early One Piece kind of jumps around a bit.
Yeah,
and it's like it doesn't really get like streamlined until you really hit Alabastia.
Right. It makes me wonder if they're going to do like the Giants Island.
Oh
with,
yeah,
the dinosaurs.
It depends. It depends. Is there like any major villains in that aside from like the appearance of maybe Smoker? But that's about it.
Well, the thing is, it's also the introduction of Baroque Works.
By the way,
which they've already introduced a number 7 who got sliced up nicely by Zoro in this season.
Yep.
So they have to at least continue with Baroque Works.
Yes, which eventually concludes with Alabastia and Crocodile.
Right. If anything, Alabasta might have to take a back seat and be like season 3.
That's kind of what I'm saying. It's like it introduced season 2 will be doing all that with introducing Chopper and them and Vivi, and then it ends as they enter Alabastia, and then the season 3 would be Alabastia, and then you have your first real main like Crocodile is like a disc 2 boss or a disc 3 boss.
Makes you wonder what they're going to do with the duck.
CGI, same or Muppet. Same deal as Crocodile.
That duck better be a Muppet. Every animal on this show had better be a Muppet.
You must have fun with Zoe. you might as well just call Zoe freaking what the hell was it? You might as well just call it the Muppet Show. Yeah.
Basically. Well, I mean, if they do that island, I don't know. Well, no,
technically it's an island, I guess.
Yes. But yeah, and the 4 kids first year. You don't have Smoker smoking, even though they called him Smoker.
Well, in this case, this was
a lollipop.
4 kids, yeah.
Well, no, yeah, Sanji with the lollipop. My God.
By the way, before we go into, but I don't know how much more One Piece you guys have. We're over an hour at this point. Almost 70 minutes.
I think we've covered everything.
You know what it is? Kyle, you never really get the chance to talk anime. So I think you were just like, I'm cutting loose.
I'm going, it's like
Before we go into Rob for a second, I just want to show you guys something a little off topic. I'm just going to put this up here. This is basically the Jets game right now. Aaron Rodgers threw 1 pass and was pulled due to injury, and now Zach Wilson has taken over. In his premier game, his very first game as a Jet.
And they still scored more than the Giants.
But Aaron Rodgers,
a high school team could have scored more than the Giants.
He was on the Packers last, right?
Yes.
Yeah. But in this case, the point being is that all that money, all that hype, and Aaron Rodgers in 4 plays, he got pulled for injury.
He wants to go back to his yurt.
this is not going to be a good year for New York in general.
No, but
Not- Oh,
So yeah, Mwamba. If you're talking about the live action series, the big bad would be Arlong.
yeah.
If you're
makes
talking
sense.
about the anime in general, it probably is the world government and the celestial dragons.
Mhm.
But
that, yeah. Supposedly
you
the
know,
manga
both have different dangers to them. As I'm seeing now, as I'm going through the Sandori arc for the anime, it's those celestial they're jackasses. They're basically jackasses. These little aquatic bulb-headed looking fools with their hammer hairs. They are the 1%. You know, it's like, you know, eat the rich. Seriously, eat these people. Kill them.
they're the
They should all
0.1%.
go.
Nah, celestial dragons are the 0.1%.
I opened
Zero,
it back
zero,
up again,
one.
didn't I?
Oh, they
You open
are
the gates again.
worst.
Yeah,
They're basically inbreds.
They're
There.
nightmares.
there, go.
Hi, guys.
Go.
So like I was saying earlier, lots happened. We got to go to a movie premiere called Into the Spotlight. We were invited because we went to the movie premiere of God's Country Song. So they're like, "Yo, can you come back and do press for us?" Which I need to give Scott that 1 minute review because it's a great movie. There will be a sequel to it. Little spoilers, but there will be a sequel. So I'm really excited. It was awesome getting to meet the cast because, like I said before, some of the cast members were in Running the Bases, and if y'all know, I was in Running the Bases, so it was cool to get to see some of them and get to interview them. And what are we laughing at?
Sorry, no, I just saw something.
Okay. Anyways,
Don't mind me.
That while the guy's like all by
Yes.
himself on camera, that's like intimidating.
So this is the movie. I don't know if you got my. I sent you on Messenger a picture of me with the main actress.
I haven't been able to get to a lot of stuff. I've been dealing with a lot of other stuff, and you
I
have
know
no.
you sent the picture of the mom from Good Luck Charlie, but
Let me just say this: you have no idea what I've been dealing with for the last week. None of you have.
No, you're good. I sent it like 10 minutes before the show. I didn't know if you could pull it, but that's okay. You don't have to pull it. But yes, met the mom from Good Luck Charlie. She was awesome. Got to interview her. So we got to do that. Got to talk to all the cast members. So that was awesome. So we did that. If you guys do want to watch that movie, it is on different streaming platforms where you have to rent it. Unfortunately, it's not on like something you can watch it for free. But it is called Into the Spotlight. I enjoyed it. It's a good, wholesome movie, good family movie. Not exactly a Christian movie. I will say that with this movie. But it is definitely a family-based movie. And what I mean by, like, not really a Christian movie is, like because there's, like, magical elements of, like, the microphone gives her voice and stuff like that. So, you know. But anyways, so there's that movie. Then I got to go to Dragon Con in Atlanta, Georgia, and that was crazy. Very fun. Dressed up as Fred because we met Freddie Prinze Jr. as Fred.
Fair.
And so I did do my hair. So yeah. And then today, so I got a picture with Freddie Prinze Jr. So that was awesome. We did Buddy at that con. We also did Kristoff from Frozen. So yeah, we got to.
You really tried to get the most out of that haircut, didn't you?
Yes, I mean, hey,
I just get kicked by a bowl cut.
You know,
and now you gotta do He-Man because you have the haircut for He-Man.
I know you're not the only one that said that in my comments. So
but not you.
Just do it.
Yeah. But not the one where he has a ponytail in the future.
Yeah.
I said, hey.
What's going on? So yes, so we did
There you
Dragon
go.
Con. Very fun. I'm definitely thinking about going back next year. It's crazy that tickets are already on sale, and it's only $100 for all 5 days. To me, that's only $20 a day.
I'm sorry, wait, $100 for all days?
All 5 days if you buy right now. I know when I bought my tickets, it was like $150 for all 5 days, but that was because I bought them like 2 months before the convention, you know.
Oh, dude.
So yeah, right now you can go on their website. It's $100 for all 5 days. I will say, as a first-time goer, there are things that I found out that be better for next time, And so I got to learn different tricks and stuff, but it was very fun. My favorite con out of all the conventions I've went to, and that's saying a lot, but it's a different convention in its whole self, because it's a convention. It starts technically on Thursday, but it actually started Wednesday. If you know, but it starts, it doesn't end until Monday. There's stuff going on. There's 3 a.m. raves in the morning, or there's different parties throughout the entire convention. So really, it's a convention for no sleep. I do suggest trying to get a hotel in the convention, because you will be doing stuff all night if that's what you want to do. But there's stuff to do all night. Definitely suggest that if you're going to go to this con, be 21, because then you can have more fun. Not saying you can't not have fun.
Wow.
21, but we did run into Ming
The
Chen.
wholesome one, influencing with drinking. Wow.
There was Ming
We could get
Chen
you on an
there.
episode of Tiny Toon Adventures.
Ming Chen was there, so we got to say hi to him. Probably saw him like 4 different times throughout the weekend, so that was fun getting to see him and all these catching up.
What days was Ming there? Until what?
Every
Monday?
day.
Until what day? Monday?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, him and CJ probably just lasted the whole time.
He was
technically. I was asking. The reason I'm asking, because he just shot scenes for Kevin Smith's new movie on Wednesday. He shot it for the 4:30 for the 4:30 movie.
Dragon Con was last week. It wouldn't have been this week, because I got home last Wednesday.
Well, last Wednesday is when Ming shot his scenes there.
Okay, yeah. So he went because what I mean by he was there, he was technically for the convention. Sunday, Monday he had a table, but he was there all 4 days.
Yeah.
I saw him from.
And you also saw my friend Juliet?
Yes, I did, which I sent you that picture because I was like, yo, can we get a picture? I know this is going to sound awkward, but there's a guy, his name Ryan. Here's a picture of him. He's like, yeah, I know him. And then I was like, let's get a picture. That way I can prove that I did meet him. Because I was like, he put me on this task. And so, yeah, and said you're his favorite. So
yeah, because when I started doing interviews for locals around here in Jersey, and for myself when I was self-promoting, Julia was one of the first handlers I ever got to work with, because she put me in with interviews for Irony Singleton from The Walking Dead, from Addie Miller from The Walking Dead, with what's his face?
That's the guy from Blindside as well.
Yes, he was in that. Lisa Marie from Sleepy Hollow and Mars Attacks. Like, she hooked me up and got me, she taught me how you're supposed to interact with the people at these cons, so that this way you can get the most out of them. And she was very helpful in that respect. So a lot of credit for anything that I've done in my past. A good portion of it goes to her and her ZSC Entertainment. I always get the letters confused, but I know it stands for Zombie Survival Crew, because that's what she originally had before she became a handler. She got into this whole thing where it was like, oh yeah, so since everyone's loving The Walking Dead, let's make a website where everyone can go ahead and sign up for this Zombie Survival Crew thing, and you get a special color designation. And if the zombie apocalypse ever happens, this is your job that you have to do in your particular area of the U.S. I was a light blue person, so that meant that I had to go ahead and be a scout. I had to be the kind of person that was going around and making sure everything was clear, getting supplies, that sort of thing, so that other people could be killing the zombies in my local area of Jersey. It was fun to find out, because there were some celebrities that had joined up for it, and then there was just like, it was kind of like a social networking thing where it's like you could find out other people who are part of the crew in your vicinity. And that pretty much spiraled into her entertainment organization, where she now works with people like Sean Gunn or Cooper Anderson.
Yeah, Andrew Cooper.
And who else was she working with besides Cooper?
I don't know.
They would have all probably been right next to each other.
I know Kari Payton was there, so she was probably working with him, but she was really just at Andrew Cooper's table, so I felt like she was only working with him, but I could be wrong on that. But yeah, So I will say another quick thing about Dragon Con that I enjoyed is, speaking of the celebrities, I know we got to wrap this up. Speaking of the celebrities, majority of the lines were easy to get through. They weren't like ones that took like, hours to be in. Like I met people like Vision from the MCU. I was in and out of his line. Or I met Sean Astin, Freddie Prinze Jr. I standed in these people's lines, and I didn't have to stand in a long line. Like each line took about 5 to 10 minutes, if that. And I didn't have no fast pass or anything like that too. And I went each different day, and so great experience, had fun. And then we went to Arkansas Comic-Con. We did press for that event, got to take pictures. I'll be writing an article to speak about that because I had a blast. So that's just what's happened in Rob's life in the last 2 weeks, and it's been crazy because we got home on Wednesday, or I did a movie premiere while on the way to the convention of Dragon Con, and then got home on Wednesday, and then we went to Arkansas Comic-Con on Saturday, and then we'll be going to Memphis in 2 weeks, and then Lexington we're doing press next month at the horror convention Scarefest.
Nice.
So,
yeah, it's been a busy 2 weeks for a lot of us here with the Labor Day weekend and everything.
And congratulations to Barbie becoming the #1 box office.
Oh my God, you just had to, didn't you? Oh, you bastard!
I'm just.
Oh.
Boom!
Look, nothing against Barbie, but we've had so much Barbie. Summer
Okay.
is over. Barbie is
wanna-
Drop
done.
the Barbenheimer on them.
I just want to say, I'm going to say this. I've been very quiet throughout. I'm just going to get my piece in here, my one piece, if you will. We had a thing about basically within the group chat, to have a drinking game every time in Tiny Toons Looniversity. Babs and Buster said that they were siblings or twins. We had to, if there was a drinking game. I do not know which would be the more drinks involved. Babs and Buster saying that they're twins and siblings, or Mr. Fred Jones up there talking about Barbie being top of the box office. Right now, I think basically it's a dead heat.
Thanks.
Either way, you're going to end up with alcohol poisoning.
Sir,
Hey,
I have had 2/3 of a bottle of wine, and you haven't even seen anything out of me. Because I had it before when we talked to the Giants. I had it tonight, and none of you guys knew about it.
Hey,
I
to be fair,
but
to be fair, that is a big deal, and
I thought it was just
Rob
water.
predicted it months and months, and it finally came true.
Oh, Rob, real quick, how's your shoulder? Is it okay?
Haha.
No, seriously, is it all right?
My shoulder's great.
Okay, because I figure you're patting yourself on your back, you might hurt yourself there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
classic.
You just got to watch that rotator cuff. It kind of hurts a little bit.
Zing.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's
See, if you
wrap
were
this.
Luffy, you
Scott,
could just
love you
stretch back
too.
there. It would be no problem. But
Yeah.
Someone drop the Barbenheimer on him.
So,
Dave's happy he missed this.
Okay.
Yeah, Kyle. By the way, thanks for coming on. I appreciate this a lot.
Okay.
You have a really good, mention I have.
Are we ending?
Yeah, we are. I think so.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
I got my
I'm
pieces
Fred
in.
Jones. That's Kyle. That's Ryan. And that's Scott. And this is Tales in the Film Set.
Wait, who?